All right, thank you, and good morning, AFT. You know, I'm honored to be here as president of the International Union, UAW, and representing 1 million active and retired members of the working class. But I personally want to thank you all and thank President Weingarten for the invitation and for her leadership in our fight for economic and social justice on and off the job. I got to tell you, the kind words she said about me a minute ago, I have to echo those sentiments toward Randy because, look, I've been in this job for a year and about 3 or 4 months right now. And, when I took over, I knew what the mission was, what I thought we needed to change in the UAW. But, there's only a handful of what I would call just core, excuse my language, but badass union leaders in this country that really get it. And Randy's one of them. Like, I lean on her a lot. Yeah. Yep. She brings a lot of wisdom to our conversations. Everything we do in the AFL, she's always one of the leaders in that. And, so I definitely want to thank you, Randy, for your leadership, for inspiring me. I also come here today as a product of America's public schools. And I'm damn proud of that. I come from a family, teachers, nurses, school nurse. My mother worked in the schools for years as a nurse. My sister was a teacher, and along with auto workers in my family. So I want to be clear about one thing. In this fight for America's public school workers, the UAW has your back. I've seen this personally. My sister was a school teacher for 20 plus years. She was her local union president for several years, and back in Indiana. And I've watched this Republican leadership in Indiana and in this nation using tools such as ALEC, attack public education, decimate public education, and villainize our teachers. And there's no excuse for it. So this is going to be a fight. We all know it's going to be a fight. And there's nothing more the billionaires would love to take away from working class kids across this country than a free public education. So I want to share some lessons that us auto workers have learned in our fight last year and encourage you to take these lessons wherever your journey takes you. About 15 years ago, America's auto industry was turned upside down, again, by a crisis that wasn't created by us, but by greed and a banking industry that collapsed. But the big three found themselves on the ropes, and like always, wealthy do what they do best. They blame the workers, and then they come to us, and they want us to save them. So, auto workers took major concessions to save the industry. We allowed them to divide us into tiers, violating the sacred union principle of equality, equal pay for equal work. And for 15 years, we lived under the weight of that sacrifice. And last fall, America's auto workers said we'd sacrificed long enough. America's auto workers said in the wealthiest nation in the world, working class people shouldn't have to scrape to get by paycheck to paycheck. And America's auto workers said, it's time to stand up. So I want to share with you some of the lessons that I took away from our stand-up strike last fall, so you can take some of those lessons forward in your fight for a better world, or in our fight for a better world. In our stand-up strike, we took on 3 of the largest corporations in the country, and we won. And a lot of people ask how we did that, and there's several things that play into that, but there's 3 things I like to talk about. One thing is we united the entire working class. We didn't just make this about auto workers alone. This fight was about everybody because everybody was feeling the same pain. We spoke truth about wages in this country, about health care and how people are being left behind, about retirement insecurity, and about taking our time back. And we fought for a dignified life on and off the job. The second thing we did was we gave the billionaire and the corporate class hell. They have to own this situation we're in, where there's more wealth disparity in this nation, in this world, than ever before. So we hit them with a UAW that they haven't seen in decades. So we put our foot on the gas, we never looked back, and we showed our members and the world that it's worth the fight. And the third thing we did is we let the working class people lead. We put our membership back in charge of this union. So we gave our members the information, we gave them the tools, we put facts in front of them, and we gave them the courage to stand up for themselves. And to me, it's that simple. That's the winning formula. Unite the membership, unite the working class, fight like hell, and let everyday working class people lead our movement. And I can assure you, if you follow those principles, which I know you will, you're not going to lose. And I can assure you this, the UAW will have your back every step of the way. You know, here at the UAW, after our victory in the Big Three, we realized another principle that educators know very well. It's not just about one contract. We took our wins from the Big Three and we brought them to our other core industries, and we won major gains everywhere we went. And we also took this fight to the non-union sector. And as President Weingarten said earlier, in April at Volkswagen, workers in Chattanooga, Tennessee made history by being the first non-union manufacturer in the country to join the UAW. And we also knew that if we wanted to win even bigger, we had to fight even bigger. That's why we set our next Big Three contract expiration for May 1st, 2028, May Day. That's right. That's right. Right, yeah. You know, we invited unions across the country to align their contracts with ours, and not just unions in America, unions all over this world. We've been talking to unions globally now because we want to create a mass movement, a general strike if we have to win our fair share, not just for workers here, but workers auto workers, working class people all over this globe. And I understand yesterday at your convention, you guys passed a resolution to push unions to do just that. And I know there's already locals from Chicago and Baltimore to Minneapolis that have already done it. And that's how we do this. When we fight and when we win, people want to be a part of that. They want to join the movement. You know, working class people are not complacent. They're tired and they're fed up with being left behind, and they are not satisfied with the crumbs. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want their lives back. And that goes way beyond the workplace. You know, as you all know, we stand at a historic crossroads in this country. It's very clear a Donald Trump White House would be a disaster for the working class. You know, he represents everything that the billionaire class and the corporate class want. I call him their lapdog. And I also say another thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a scab. He stands for everything that we as a union and in the labor movement stand against. And he will ruthlessly fight for a vision of America in which the wealthy rule everyone and everything, and the working class is continued to force to settle for the scraps. You know, for us in the labor movement, what's at stake in November isn't just about November. What we win or lose now will impact every single contract negotiation, every new organizing campaign. And it's going to determine whether we go forward or backward as a nation for generations to come. So you know what's at stake here is simple to me. Everything is at stake. Our wages. When I talk about wages, that means living wages, not just the bare minimum, wages where people can actually live and live a comfortable life. Our health care, you know, just having adequate health care so people can not have to worry about if they get sick that they won't lose everything. Our retirement security. You know, 60% of Americans have zero retirement savings. And it's not because people are irresponsible. It's because people are making so little money they can't afford to save any damn thing for retirement. And the fourth thing we look at is our time, getting our time back. You know, working class people in this country are forced to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, or 2 and 3 jobs just to live paycheck to paycheck and scrape to get by. That's not a life, and we got to take our lives back. So those are the 4 core issues that we as a union are focused on, and to me, those are the 4 core issues that unite all working class people in a fight against the billionaire class. That's why 75% of America stood with us in our Big 3 fight, because those are the issues that affect everybody, union or not. Yeah, so, and you know, those are the issues that the billionaires desperately want us not focused on. The dream of the wealthy's lapdog, Donald Trump, is that the vast majority of working class people who literally make our economy and our country run will remain divided, that we will not unite in a common cause to take on the billionaire class. You know, the billionaires' game is to divide and conquer. You know, they divide us by public and private sector, when we all know as unions that we're never going to fall for that trick. We are one union and we will stand united. They divide us by race. They divide us by gender. They divide us by who somebody loves. They divide us by where we were born and what language we speak. And I got to tell you something. The rich have manufactured a so-called crisis at the border. And every time I hear about this border crisis, it pisses me off. You know, we don't have a border crisis. What we have is a humanitarian crisis. And they create this crisis for a reason, because they've left working class people behind for decades, and they want the working class to have something or somebody to point the blame for their misery at. And if it doesn't work when they point the finger at black people, if it doesn't work when they point the finger at gay people, then they want to point the finger at somebody across the border from another country. So in this fight, we need to take a good look. This election coming up, to me, it's about more than, it's about humanity. And you know what? We need to take a good look at the heart and soul of America and where we stand. You know, there's a party in this country that loves to hold up a Bible, and they love to wrap themselves in the American flag. And then the next thing they do is their lapdog stands in front of America, and he calls destitute and desperate people looking for a better life rapists and murderers and invaders. Well, you know, I got to tell you all something. First thing I do every day when I get up is I do a daily reading and I pray. And I don't know what religion all of you are, or if you have religion, whether you do or not, but I know this. Every religion I know of in this world teaches one thing as a foundation, and that's love of your fellow human being. That's right. That's got to be the focus as we go into this election and how we vote, is love of your fellow human being and standing up for people, not leaving them behind. When I see destitute and desperate people trying to cross the border for a better life, you want to know what I see? I see my grandparents. My grandparents went through a Great Depression. And the only difference between my grandparents and people trying to cross that border are my grandparents were in destitution and poverty, extreme poverty, in Southern America. They were in Tennessee and Kentucky. And all they had to do was they had to cross state lines, and they migrated north, and they got jobs in UAW factories at GM and Chrysler, and they lived the American dream. That's what this fight's about, and that's what these people are trying to do, is find a better life. And this is what the billionaire class does. They divide us to keep us weak. And too many members of the working class are falling for that. That's the truth. But I know another truth. And the truth is, we can win. You know, as working class people, we are up against the most powerful forces in the world, and our mission is to take that power back. The deck is stacked against us. It's stacked against auto workers and educators and working class people everywhere. But we have one thing that the billionaires and the corporate class will never have. We have solidarity. Yeah. And you know, there's a, I don't want to get all preachy on it, but I do want to say this, you know, there's a scripture that it's the foundation. It's my favorite scripture in life. And it, to me, is what the labor movement's about. It's what solidarity is about. And that's Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, where it says, "Two are better than one, for they have a greater return for their labor. If one of them falls down, the other can pick them up. But pity the person who falls and has no one there to help them up. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken." That's what solidarity is. So we have the power to come together in a common cause to defeat the forces of corporate greed in the name of economic and social justice. We have solidarity. And there's one movement that lives and breathes solidarity, and that's the labor movement. At our best, we're the ones who unite across race, gender, and nationality. At our best, we're the ones who organize in a common cause against the devastation caused by corporate greed. And at our best, we're the ones who stand up against violence of all forms, from the workplace to the community. So the labor movement not only has the answer, we also have the duty, or what I call the obligation, to lead that fight. And as you go into that fight for a better life, for a better job, and for a better country, remember that obligation. Remember that you are the best America has to offer and that you are the hope of the working class. I say this all the time. This is our generation's defining moment. What we do in this moment will define the future of this country and this world for generations to come. So wherever that fight takes us, wherever this future takes us, the UAW is ready to stand up with you in this fight. So let's get to it. Thank you.